All right, so we're recording right now, and this is episode 2 of, I guess, what is now called the Your Brain Rebalanced radio show. So we have pretty much the regular cast, plus our first special guest. So Jeff's here.
Yo.
Apeman's here.
Good stuff.
And Gameover is here.
Hey.
So I guess we decided on doing relapses this time, talking about that. Which is actually kind of a really interesting topic. I feel like half the posts on the forum are dedicated to relapses and stuff going with relapses. So I definitely know a thing or two about it. When I first started rebooting, I had 3 months where it was really hard to get focused, and I was relapsing a ton too. So I guess we'll just start it off with Apeman. And I guess for you, what are the big causes of relapses for you? Do you have anything that triggers you?
I do.
Or is it
most definitely, most certainly. If there's anything this process will teach you, it's the things that will trigger you. And for me, number one, alcohol. Alcohol decimates, destroys my ability to keep the goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if I'm of two minds about anything and I'm drinking, I absolutely lose the ability to delay gratification. I want instant gratification, so if I find myself alone and drunk, it's game over. Hey, game over.
Well played.
So yeah, alcohol, most certainly, number one. As a matter of fact, it's so far ahead of all the other triggers that it's a thing, it's in a class of its own. So much so that I've been dry for, 10 days now? I've kind of lost track. Fortunately, it's a pretty easy thing to kick.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought of it since I decided I just wasn't going to drink until I went to this music festival later in the month. But yeah, so for me, alcohol, number one trigger. Luckily, super easy to kick.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have problems? Do you ever, like when you're surfing online or anything like that, do advertisements or images that pop up trigger you? Or is that something you have under wraps?
For the most part, I've got it under wraps, but definitely if I'm just mindlessly browsing, Redditing, usually, even though I don't have any kind of sexy subreddits that I go to, sometimes something just, shows up. The internet's kind of a funny place like that. It's a very sexy place. So yeah, if I'm browsing without a goal, without any kind of aim, then sometimes I'm vulnerable. But for the most part, no, I've got that under wraps. Mm-hmm. But if I'm drinking and Redditing, then it's the danger zone for sure.
Danger zone.
So do you normally drink it at home and just browse the computer?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm just a mess. I'm just straight out of the bottle, just no clothes, a cheeseburger on the ground.
Haven't showered in weeks.
Poke at it. No, it's just that, when you're done at the end of the night, you come home and it's not sober.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
Well, it's interesting because I actually went out and drinking for the first time, heavily drinking for the first time in a very long time because I finished my degree. Yeah.
Oh boy. Way to go.
I finished my last assignment, and so which went out. And yeah, no, it was great. It was a good night, and I normally don't enjoy drinking, so I kind of don't. And it fucks my antidepressants as well, I think. So I try to avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like I just get horrible 2-day hangovers. It's just shit, and I've always found it's relapse territory, but I really haven't drunk properly heavily since I realised I had an addiction. So, I mean, today was fine actually. I kind of woke up, I felt okay, but I definitely would say that certainly with weed, that definitely breaks down my resolve as well. Just any kind of drug, it just makes me kind of just as Apeman said, just seek instant gratification. To on a massive level. you just don't care. You got that kind of that fuck it sort of thing kicks in, doesn't it? Much more quickly when you're drunk.
Yeah. The interesting thing is too, before I quit porn, a lot of the PMO I did involved weed too. I used to smoke a lot more weed. So
it makes you sort of weirdly horny,
Yeah, and I have that connection in my brain too. I think just for doing it so much while looking at porn, probably. Which is kind of good. But yeah, that was sort of my big thing when I quit. It was I kind of quit in tandem with quitting weed, and that really helped.
Yeah.
But yeah. Game over. How about you? Do you have any big triggers or anything like that?
Yeah, it's not really alcohol or weed or anything like that. I've relapsed probably at least 75 times in the last year, and I'd say it'd be purely just negativity. Like when you lose that hope and you get that fuck it moment, that's really a main trigger for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely for me as well. That definitely, when I'm feeling really down, like that's a danger. That's right in the danger zone when I'm feeling really, really down and just fucking depressed and not got anything to do. Like I'm bored and depressed, or either or. Like, it's just that's fucking bad. So yeah, I found myself sort of like almost peaking today just because I was kind of bored as well. Boredom is massive.
Yeah.
Like just,
what do you do in those situations when you're almost peaking? Is there like a plan that you go do? Do you exercise immediately? I know some people who get up right away and go for a jog or something like that.
I usually just close my laptop lid. Just
Step
close the
one.
fucking lid.
Yeah.
I just close the lid and then just like take a couple of minutes out and just don't go back to my computer.
Yeah.
And then if it's really bad, if I find myself really triggered, I'll just go and sit and meditate for a bit. But usually like now I find myself not getting getting so triggered. But I think it's weird because you kind of know where your brain is at. It's kind of you feel how triggered you are. Like, you just know. And sometimes you can look at really like you can see stuff and you don't get triggered. Like you'll see a film or something and it have like a naked woman in it and you won't actually get triggered. But then other times, like I find anyway, that like I'll just look at something of like a billboard with a bikini model on it and I'll get triggered as fuck and I'm thinking, oh my god.
Yeah,
Do you know
definitely.
what I mean? But it's really it kind of varies what mood I'm in and like where I'm at, like emotionally as well. I think as well. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. I think because it's not just the content that triggers me; it's a combination. It's a perfect storm of if it's content plus boredom or a down mental state or a fucked up mental state. If they come at me at the same time, then that's a real test.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works because, like, I can come across porn and not get that urge to watch it, and then sometimes, if I'm in that mind state and I come across it, it's just going to happen.
Yeah,
I think Gameover. You said one of the more interesting things when you're like aroused by women, it feels like kind of in control and stuff like that. But when you have like that arousal from porn, you don't get an erection, but you get like that mind rush. Like it's almost a trigger that's separate from arousal. It's like an addiction trigger. I mean, obviously it is actually, but I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it feels like my head's going to explode. Like hands shaking, heart racing. It's
completely different I get that, man. Yeah,
I absolutely had that. I watched this movie. It was I don't know what it was like. It was just like a NR-17 movie that was at this movie theater I go to, and it had a sex scene in it, and I felt so shaky afterwards. I felt like almost like. Have you guys ever been low on blood sugar or have low blood sugar sometimes?
Yeah, it's definitely like that.
It's exactly like that. It's a bizarre feeling, but yeah, that's interesting. So when you guys, I guess what do you do to avoid relapses once you know these triggers and stuff like that? Do you guys have battle plans Apeman, for you said you stopped drinking, right? That's just kind of like something you have to do to avoid it in general.
Well, stopping drinking, it's worked very well so far. I mean, I have to say the last week or so has been pretty easy. A lot easier on the whole than it had been before. But the drinking and the not drinking, it kind of came about as a result of something that I talked about on my journal, where I saw a girl, and this girl did something to my head, and I just clicked in a moment there, and I said, you know what? Fuck all this shit. It's time to get real, and my lifestyle's been very different, and just kind of all of a sudden. So,
was that hugely helpful. In the bar that you talked about?
That was in the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was very well written, by the way.
Well, thank
I love
you.
that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But it's remarkable. It's remarkable how a girl that you never know can be such a powerful motivator. It's still like lingering with me. I have no trouble getting my shit done lately, and it's all stemming from that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But for me, as far as battle plans go, Jeff Jeff and I think, have a similar approach. Meditation is huge because if you think about it, what is this challenge? All we have to do is do nothing, really.
Yeah.
It's just we have to do nothing. And meditation is kind of a cultivated practice of doing nothing or seeing what kind of stuff happens if you try to do nothing.
Yeah.
So, like Jeff was saying, closing the lid, stepping outside, sitting down, and just watching what happens is, for me, it's worked time and time again. It's my go-to. You can do it anywhere, and it always works. Because if you can hold out 5, 10, 15 minutes, craving's gone. Cravings are short-lived. You just have to outweigh them, and they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gameover, you've been doing meditating recently too, right?
Yeah, for about 2 weeks now. Love
Has
it.
it helped with cravings or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it helps keep your mind clear and focused on what you're actually trying to achieve. I found it very, very difficult at the start. Like 1 to 2 minutes was all that I could do, and now I can get to about 15 minutes, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
What else do you do to stay positive?
I stay busy. Don't sit in your room and
Yeah.
dwell on all the negative things in your life. Just try and go out on weekends and have fun.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Some of the best advice, actually. Yeah, I noticed for me, because I was in like a 3-month sort of like, would go 7 days and then relapse and then go 10 days and then relapse right at the beginning of my reboot. And like I made like a list of reasons why I was rebooting. I remember I was just kind of sick of doing that and knew my reboot would have to be longer. And that helped a ton for me. I mean, I haven't relapsed since then. So I just like wrote down everything. Like I wanted to get a girlfriend, I wanted to get married someday and have kids someday. And I realized none of those things I could do when I was like addicted to porn and I had horrible AD and, had all these like depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And especially in the first 30 to 60 days, reminded myself of that stuff. And that helped me a ton.
So you had laid out this vision of all these things that you wanted that were incompatible with an addict's life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I didn't even actually physically write it down. I just kind of like mentally realized. I like mentally made the list and mentally internalized it. Like I really, really believed in it for whatever in that moment. And that was super useful. Super useful.
Did you find yourself revising it or going back to it in those initial months? How did that, if you didn't have it written down, how did you keep it with you, so to speak?
I always know it. And I still think about it even when I see something triggering to this day. Just like I know exactly why I'm rebooting. And it's all those reasons,
I have exactly the same thing, Fugu, actually.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I do exactly the same thing. Yeah, I have like a kind of idea of, where I want to be, and it's just not compatible with the life of a porn addict at all.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't compatible in any way. Yeah. And that's kind of like, it's a big reminder, when I feel triggered and stuff as well. That's like, I try to, if I have any shred of rationality left in my mind, if I'm not too, buzzing from the dopamine, then I'll be able to think okay, man, stop this. It's not compatible.
Yeah.
It's completely incompatible with everything you want to achieve and everything you want from your life. So then I stop. Hopefully.
I think that's hugely useful, that notion of incompatibility, because it shuts down all those gray areas and all that bargaining that can happen when your brain starts to shut down because you're just buzzing.
Yeah.
So you've been going quite a while now, Fugu. Have you been close to relapsing?
No, ever since then I have not been really close to relapsing at all, actually. I think the closest I ever was 30 days after that. I kind of made that in my head and was having a lot of success. One night I had to sit on my hands. It was so bad. And I stayed up till 3 a.m, and that was the closest this whole time. But then besides that, I've never even like came close to typing it in on a URL or a bar or anything like that. So I've been really lucky in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Something clicked really with that. I'm not really sure what it was, but and I also think, and we talked about this on the last episode a lot, I also think that opening up to somebody not only helps get your reboot starting, but helps prevent relapses too. Because there's been a few times where you need to just kind of talk to somebody, and you can't really do it on the forums. And if you have a roommate that you can talk to, it definitely will like push away those kind of that addiction feeling and that compulsion to go to porn. If you can just stifle it for an hour, it could be gone. So that was useful too for me. But
Fugu, I'm curious when you're talking about that click. You say there was a click, and I think that's what everybody who's trying to kick this is trying to get to, that moment where they can shift over decisively and put it all behind them. You attribute that to telling your friend, first of all, and laying out that vision of what you wanted with that notion of incompatibility. Was there anything else? Do I have that? Am I getting this correct? Does that sound right?
That sounds right. I mean, I feel like there should. It's weird because if that was, I feel like there was also just sort of like a something in me at that moment that was like, I'm really gonna do this. You know, I'm going to do this. There's nothing that's gonna stop me in doing it. But those are the two.
It will happen.
Yeah, and I had that mentality and still have that mentality. It's nice now when you're a year plus away from it. You know, you won't go back, really. But those are the two like kind of tangible things I could really point to that was a part of that. My big recommendations, I guess, but it really helped.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first from Fugu, the Fuginator.
Yeah, buy my product. Buy my product.
Snake oil.
Oh wow, guys!
Oh yeah, and lots of Charlie snake oil. Please buy this. But yeah, I found that helped a lot too. But I mean, Jeff, you know something about opening up to somebody close to you and how helpful that can be. Probably in times of relapse too. I know we didn't talk about that last episode, but
yeah, no, opening up is I think kind of essential part of kind of coming to grips with your plight, so to speak. Kind of you need to be able to completely be honest about it, and I think opening up is one way of kind of doing that. It's like it helps you to figure it out too. And then after that, after the first one or two people, it just gets so much easier. It's not a problem. It becomes just kind of like, yeah, I had a problem with porn, or I have a problem with porn, whatever you want to say, however you want to word it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal. And you know, there's increasing body of evidence out there. You can always point them to your Brain Rebalanced or whatever, or your Brain on Porn. It's not, you know, it's not. I just don't consider it really an issue anymore. I'm not kind of. I don't feel embarrassed when I'm like. I talk about it. I wouldn't talk about details of people, so, like unless I'm really close to them. But certainly at the beginning, when I was really starting to realize stuff, talking to my closest friends about stuff and the details did really help, because I felt like not judged. So it was really nice, because I was judging myself like fuck. Because you do, don't you, when you're watching stuff that you're kind of disgusted by? You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, and then being able to kind of open up to someone and tell them like, look, I've got a problem. Like it's a whole weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is.
It takes that deep, dark secret taboo off it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And also kind of contextualize that secret too. I don't feel like once you kind of say that you're a porn addict, you realize you actually haven't murdered anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not quite as bad as you thought it was in your head.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you guys have relapse, what have you done to like get back on the horse? Because it's easy for one relapse to turn into a binge, I guess. And we can start with Gameover. If Gameover has any insight.
For me, I don't really have any techniques. I just sort of reevaluate in my mind, you know, why I want to do it. I have gone back to some old posts as well on the forum where I've, you know, introduced myself and said, you know, why I want to quit porn and all that. And I think rereading that really helps. And also talking to a few people and, you know, having them help you get back on the wagon. Yeah.
Do you ever look, because I feel like you have had so many successes since you started rebooting, like, this might be the weirdest thing I've ever said. I envy your erection quality right now. But do you ever look at, like, where you've come from, I guess?
Yeah, all the time. And I think, you know, I'd never really want to go back to that stage where I was, you know, watching porn twice a day. And that's really a really good motivator to, you know, get back on the reboot.
Apeman, how about you?
As far as getting back on the horse, Well, something that I've actually been dealing with quite recently is I relapsed, maybe 10 days ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I relapsed, and you immediately get that clarity as soon as you're done, like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And in that clarity, I had a moment where I was like, well, that happened. Can't do anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the magnitude of this relapse is as small as it could possibly be right now. So I can keep it that small. And if I keep it at this one relapse and I go on and I continue to have a no porn fapstronautic lifestyle, it'll be setting a kind of record for myself, because I always binge. I always I go for a couple weeks and then I fall, and then I beat myself up and I binge, and it's a couple days, and then I get up and I get back going again. And I realized after this one time that, hey, if I get back up and keep going as if nothing happened, that'll be something I've never done.
Yeah.
And it's been, oh my God, these last couple days, I've gotten such a boost. It's really kind of unreal. So I think if you've just relapsed, you do have the opportunity to turn that into a win by proving to yourself that you can control that relapse, by proving to yourself that you don't have to be in an addict mindset where it's just this repeating cycle of craving and then binging and swearing off and craving and binging. If you slip, you can just keep it a slip and keep going like nothing happened. And I think that's where you start to become a non-addict, where you start to build yourself back up to a life of normalcy.
Yeah, it's about finding the balance and getting yourself out of that extreme mentality, like the extreme mindset of like you're either going to binge or you're going to do nothing. Like you're never going to watch porn again, or you're going to have a massive binge. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's kind of the addictive cycle. The way I see it is like you have these. Yeah, as you say, it goes in a cycle. Like, so you binge for a couple of days, then you have a few days off. You're like, right, I'm never going to watch porn again. That's it. And then obviously that breaks down your resolve eventually, because you've sworn yourself off it so much and you put so much importance onto that never relapsing. Then you relapse, and then it's a binge again.
Yeah, and it all goes out the window.
The fact that you've failed yourself. But like, if you just have a more balanced approach, it's like with all my relapses or like lapses, I haven't really relapsed to high speed porn only twice in the last kind of 8 months since I started.
Well done.
But it wasn't really high speed porn. It was kind of just like where I once was on Omegle. I think I mentioned to you guys, and like with this girl. So it wasn't really high speed porn. Kind of was. It was still cyber sex stuff. But like, and then the other time was to this video, this music video that was quite explicit. And so those are the two times I've actually relapsed to any kind of like videos and stuff. But the other times it's just kind of been like, but it's been one-offs, because I just think after it's happened, I'm like, well, like I no longer place so much importance on the fact that I've lapsed. It's not like I've let myself down. It's not a case of, it becomes like you realize it's not a case of just forcing and grinding and gritting your teeth. It's just a case of just being like, okay, that happened, and then it's like, where do you go from there? Like, that's the test of true strength. Is like, after a lapse, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna just give up and just carry on, like, and just binge and binge and binge, then like I mean, it's so easy to do that. It's so easy to do that because it's like, but it's because you beat yourself up that you do that. And it like, once you like stop trying to beat yourself up and just think, yeah, I that happened, but then you're compassionate with yourself about it.
Yeah.
You've got to be compassionate with yourself, because you've got to be your own best friend, haven't you? Because you know how difficult this is. No one else does. Right. So you just got to pick yourself back up and just be kind to yourself about it. And that's always been my approach on it. And I've got better at that, because that takes training too. That kind of approach takes like a few lapses to be able to do that. So for me, it's all learning. It's all about learning. Like, every time I lapse, I just think, okay, it's an opportunity to get stronger, because I've not binged from it, and shit happened. So what? Then move on. It's like it's a good skill to have in life as well. Like, shit, you're gonna fail so many times and fall flat on your face, And
Absolutely.
it's how you pick yourself up from that shows true strength of character, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no,
Extremes
I totally agree.
are bad.
Absolutely. Because it is the easiest thing in the world to say, fuck it. You know, you
Definitely.
take a shot and you say, fuck it, I give up. And maybe you give up for it's the harder thing to take a shot, take a hit, take a lapse, and say, you know what? I forgive myself. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Never give up, man. Never, ever, ever. It's not an option. If it's incompatible with your life, it's incompatible with your life. That's that. That's that. For me, that's that. It's like, yeah, there are some things I can't control. Sometimes I get triggered. Sometimes I'm gonna slip up. But along that way, I'm gonna be there for myself when I need myself to be there. Like, I'm always gonna be there. I can't go anywhere, so I may as well just. Do you know what I mean? Because you can either be like a bit of you can either be your own worst enemy or you can be your own best friend, and it's like just let it go. It doesn't matter. It's just a lapse. It's fine. It's cool.
Do you guys find that after you relapse, the chaser effect, is that something you guys have experienced?
Yeah, I think that's part of
why it makes that decision so hard sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's why it makes it the easy choice is just say fuck it and go down that road and binge.
Yeah.
Because it's a psychological thing where you think, oh, I failed. I'm a failure. Jacking off, whatever.
Negative spirals.
Yeah, exactly. It's a spiral. And I think but I do believe when people talk about the chaser effect, I think they're talking about a physiological reaction, and there may be something to it.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, yeah, most definitely. When you fall, it's a tricky kind of mind game to convince yourself to just keep going, as if nothing had happened.
Yeah.
Or maybe learn something, but keep going. Don't let it shake you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. I found the first 5 days after a relapse are the hardest, especially if you've just done a long no orgasm run as well.
Yeah.
And then your body wants another one straight away. So it's about 5 days for me.
Are you craving porn, or you just feel like you're horny in general?
Anything.
Anything.
Porn, masturbation. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I went. I think we were talking about this on the last episode. I went 60 days, and I was rewiring at the time with my girlfriend without an orgasm, and I had an orgasm, and it might not even need to be just to porn to have a chaser effect, because I was so incredibly horny for 4 days after that. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I ate horny goat weed or something like that and didn't know it. But yeah.
Wait a minute. Who's got the horny goat weed?
Yeah. Dad, did you put it in my orange juice again? But, yeah, that was the one time where I'm like, oh, I know what they're talking about now. And I can see how after a relapse, too, that would make it harder to be disciplined. And almost you need to factor in that idea that, yeah, you probably are going to crave this even more than you did 5 days ago because of that relapse.
Yeah, be prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But any other sort of tips or something like that you guys have to avoid relapses? Tricks you guys have used? Anything like that?
Eat an apple. Eat a fruit. And I'm dead serious about this. There's a book. It's entitled The Willpower Instinct. Neurologist, I think, named Kelly McGonigal. I highly recommend it. They found that people's ability to exert their willpower, in this case, keeping their hand submerged in ice water, was directly controlled by their blood sugar, basically. So they gave some of their subjects an apple. Their blood sugar spiked, and they were able to keep their hands submerged longer than the control group. So basically, if you have chemical energy in your body from food, you're going to be able to exert your will and exert the power of your prefrontal cortex more effectively and for longer. So I'm serious. I do it myself. If I'm feeling in a danger zone, grab an apple, take a walk. An apple takes 5-10 minutes to eat. In that time, you're restoring you're re-upping your energy stores, and you're not on the computer. Because try eating an apple and using the computer at the same time. It's hard. Just eat the apple.
Wow.
Keep an apple next to your laptop.
Yeah. So apples, bananas, fruit in general. I'm dead serious.
That's good advice, though. Wow.
Never heard that before.
I haven't either. Huh.
The Willpower Instinct, Kelly McGonigal.
Check
Read
it out. Yeah.
Maybe for a gay banana might not be a good idea. Just saying, guys out there, because might remind you a little bit. Just don't go there.
Yeah.
It's got to be about apples.
Yeah. I just bought apples too.
Well,
Like I'm getting some
no
value
wonder
out of
you're
that.
doing so great, man.
Yeah, it's the apples.
You guys got apples over here.
Although I guess honestly, I can't remember the last time I had apples in the house before this occasion. So I don't know. Maybe I just get high blood sugar.
Could be, man. Who knows?
Who knows?
You won't need the apple.
Yeah, maybe I will. Emergency apples.
Emergency apples. It's a thing.
Yeah.
I might actually do that. That's quite a good idea.
Yeah, it actually sounds like good advice, though.
Yeah.
But Jeff, you have any tips for people?
To avoid relapse. I think I pretty much mentioned everything that I do personally to kind of avoid relapse. Have a busy social life.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Gameover's already said it, but like, always be going somewhere, about to do something. Like, try to avoid days where you just sit around, because the amount, like, since I sort of started like keeping off porn, I've been so much more productive. And then just once you get into that kind of momentum of being productive, like, it just kicks off, and you find yourself not being, it's when you're idle, it's just try not to be idle,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a technique I use, but I think that's already been mentioned, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't spend too long on the forum.
Yeah.
I try not to post too much on like too many people's stuff, like, because I know that I could spend hours and hours of my day just posting on the forum, and then like not living real life, because there's a life out there to live, and for the forum's great, and it serves its purpose, and it's fantastic, the purpose it does serve, but just posting too much, I think, or like it can be kind of it can, I guess it could have a negative effect if you did it too much.
Yeah, it can be kind of triggery too sometimes. Some of the
Yeah.
posts and stuff like that, I definitely have felt a little triggered by some things sometimes. So, but yeah, I've actually found Gameover. This is something I saw you write too, but I found that sometimes when I take a long break from the forum, I actually feel better when I get back.
Yeah, I felt great when I stopped using it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I definitely feel more addicted to the forum than porn now.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing though, if you think about it. Like, in a way, like, it just shows how, like, you have changed. Like, you have made progress. Better to be addicted to a forum than it is to be addicted to high-speed porn. Definitely.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Just a case of weaning yourself off that now, and that's going to be less of a struggle.
Forum reboot.
Yeah, forum reboot. The forum for the people who are addicted to the forum.
That'll be the day. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, in terms of things to be addicted to, I feel like at least it's not rewiring your sexuality or anything. I definitely feel like kind of compulsion too sometimes when I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do when I'm sitting at home. Let's go on that forum. Let's see what's going on there. But
yeah,
it's pretty easy to go to. Plus, you relate to the people there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of new rebooters say a lot of times the forum are the thing that helps them a lot. Going there instead of actually going to, like a porn site or something like that. And I can relate to that too, actually. Right in the beginning of my reboot, it was really nice to have that to go to.
Oh man, at the beginning, all those kind words and messages from people who are like in the same boat just really kind of spurs you on. It's great. And like even now, if I'm like feeling heavily triggered, like the other day I was feeling triggered, and like I wrote on the forum. Sadly, it was too late. I MO'd, but like, well, kind of MO'd by humping my bed. Like, what the fuck? But like, yeah, that was weird, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, right, I'm not gonna use my hand. Like, I'm just gonna.
I feel like that's probably better. I don't know though.
It probably is. Like, at least it's like getting a bit of hip action involved.
Yeah. A little
after I was actually just like, that was really weird. Like,
that is.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
But the man was just full to bursting.
But felt more relaxed afterwards. I did genuinely feel like more relaxed. So
yeah.
I don't know. I figured myself straight away. I was like shit happens. But
but that's nice though. You know, if you were thinking about doing it, you can go straight to the forum. In your case,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it does. It can help if someone's on and they respond quickly. You're like, okay, snap me out of my funk.
Yep.
You know. So that can be helpful, but I think it's better to employ an array of different techniques as opposed to just like one or two, because depending on your mood, it's never the same technique's not necessarily going to work every time, and it takes technique. After a while, you're going to know which technique's to employ to be able to get over that particular craving at that particular time, depending on how you're feeling. If it's because of boredom, because of negativity, whatever, I think different techniques work for me at different times, and I kind of just feel it. You have to just kind of sense it and use your intuition.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
There is no one size fits all response.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. Mm.
Although it seems to me that meditation is close. It is the kind of thing that you can do in most situations.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah, I feel like there's some like pretty solid things you can recommend to everybody that will help. It won't like get rid of them, but it'll help. Like I feel like working out. If you're a person who doesn't work out regularly, it's a great way to blow off energy and like reuse time in a positive way.
I think we all do on here, right? I think we all work out on here, right?
Oh, we're all a bunch of fit dudes.
Everyone lifts.
Gameover for sure does.
I don't.
Bro.
The thunder from down under, the man with the guns.
I know. Before we close the last episode, or I think it was another recording, I'm like, we have to get Gameover on the show because he has the best arms on YBR. That's the reason why.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a one-man gun show, ladies and gentlemen.
But it is a good way. It is a good way to avoid relapsing, I think.
Yeah, it's a great.
What, exercise?
Yep.
Oh, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, sometimes there's a different tenor, a different feeling to cravings, isn't there?
Yep.
Some cravings, I mean, I feel like I'm just wired. And in those instances, it's great to be able to go out and throw some heavy shit around, and then you come out dripping with sweat, and you're like,
yep,
I got it all out, and nothing bad happened, and it was good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys use blockers?
Use what?
Blockers, like
like K9.
Yeah,
I do.
We didn't talk about that. That's a good point.
I never have. I've never found I kind of needed to yet. But I guess it's different for everyone, isn't it? Again, like with me, because my relapses have only been like one-offs, and and they've usually are just MO relapses rather than actual full-blown porn relapses.
Yeah,
I haven't really found need to like because also the stuff I get triggered by, like stuff I'll look at when I'm peaking, is not. I won't look at like explicit shit really. Usually, I'll just look at like maybe some bikini models, and then I'll kind of realize, and I'll catch myself. So that K9 wouldn't block that anyway. So for me, I haven't needed to, but I don't know. Other guys have different, have different cravings and stuff, and different techniques. So
I haven't personally used them, but I feel like they can be useful. Like if you really are having a hard time getting the ball rolling. And at that point, I feel like you should do anything to get the ball rolling. And if that's a good way to do it, then do it,
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, though, it's tough because you need to be able to have the discipline to not be able to type in your URL bar, like the website all so well. You know what I mean? You need to be able to resist that feeling. And so I'm kind of torn on it. But if it's working, don't change it. That's like the big thing I'll come back to.
Well, the thing for me, I mean, I have a K9 blocker on my computer, and it doesn't really come into play that often. But when it does, the thing about blockers is you can get around them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you're going to get a blocker that is so effective that it's going to block you at every turn without also seriously fucking up your internet in general.
Yeah.
And because you're always going to get around it, for me, it's not about keeping me sealed off from porn forever. What it is if I'm in a dangerous situation and I run up against the blocker, it's kind of I'm not really thinking fully, So to see that error message come back at me, it's just like, this is blocked, dude. You can't do that. All of a sudden, it kind of snaps me into a more rational mode, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, what am I doing? And then I go outside.
That's a good point.
If anybody's in a position where they're just like, I'm going to watch porn, that's going to happen, a blocker's not going to do shit. You're going to find a way around it, even if it's just on your phone or whatever. So to me, it's not about creating this impenetrable wall. It's more like you have these signposts that come at you when you're not thinking clearly and remind you of what your real goals are.
Apeman, so smart.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. Did you use them, Gameover? Did you ever use blockers?
Yeah, I tried using blockers, but they didn't really work for me. I just found that when I got to that point where I was typing it in, I was just going to turn it off anyway. I was too far gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I do use an accountability program. So my log files of what sites I've been visiting get sent to Metal off the forums. So
nice.
I found that even though it won't stop it, just knowing that someone's going to be looking through and seeing what you're up to, sort of adds a bit of a deterrent to it.
Absolutely. I've actually never heard about those accountability programs. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's called Covenant Eyes.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
So how does that work, Game Over?
So you install it on a device like a laptop or your phone, and it's just an app basically that runs in the background. Just creates a big log of what websites you've been visiting, sets them up in categories like mature, young teen, highly mature for porn or whatever, and then it sends a report to him every week, and then he can view it in a summary form, or he can go through one by one what websites I've been visiting. So
Does that include like YouTube videos and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, there's dodgy YouTube videos.
Yeah. So it'll come up and say like, Game Over's been looking at twerking, something very tame like that, and he can say, look, you're sort of going down that road again of potentially relapsing. So
that's a
I think
sick idea.
I think it's good to it really helps sort of identify patterns for your relapses as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to start up a spreadsheet as well to start logging mine, because I just until now I've just had like one of those counters, but I think it's not really comprehensive enough as well. So I might get on that, and I might get an accountability program as well. I think those might be my next steps, really.
So what does Metal do when he sees, if you let's say you relapsed or something, and he sees it? Does he just game over, you bastard? Why did you do that?
I usually get a very filthy PM. I just get he just sort of just do that sort of shake up sort of speech, which helps.
Yeah, definitely. And to just kind of know that, I guess the really nice time is when you're about to do it, that somebody's going to see it, right at that moment.
But it's also a positive thing as well,
Yeah.
Because he can message me and say, hey, you're doing well. I've seen you haven't even peaked for a month or whatever, It's sort of some positive reaffirmation of it.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah, that's cool.
Recommend it.
Jeff, I'd do that with you if you want me to hold you accountable.
Yeah, sick. That would be a great idea, man. And likewise, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
Cool. Let's do it.
Plan
I'll put
established.
Yeah. Plan established.
Sorted.
So I think we're doing pretty good on time. Oh, did you want to say something, Jeff?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. This is right at the perfect time. I was thinking 30 to 45 minutes every show, and we're at almost 45, so I guess... If anybody has any final thoughts, I would do it right now, or hold your peace.
Final thoughts on relapses.
Yeah, just advice, anything you can kind of give to people who don't know much about porn addiction, or just discovering their porn addiction, or anything like that. That's ultimately what this is for.
I got something. I totally got something.
Do it.
So, for beginning, starting out Fapstronauts especially, I think there's this belief, this widespread belief, linked to the practice of using counters, that when you relapse, you start over, which is bullshit. The progress that you make before you relapse, you still get that. So I'm not a huge fan of counters, because if you have a counter and you go 89 days and your badge says 89 days, and then you relapse and you reset your badge says 1, which has a psychological effect, at least it did on me, where it's just like, back to square one. This sucks. That's not real. It's very counterproductive psychologically. So I absolutely
counterproductive.
You see what I did?
Pardon the pun. Sorry, but that was terrible. Carry on.
Well played.
But yeah, so spreadsheets.
Yeah.
You know that one relapse after day 89 looks like on a spreadsheet? It's a blip, which is what it should be. Mm-hmm. So if you're just starting out and you're listening to this, get rid of your counter, get a spreadsheet. It's the big picture. It makes the blips on your journey look like what they actually are, which is just blips.
Yeah. That's really good advice. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've got one thing to say as well. I think at the beginning as well, when you relapse, you're going to be binging probably because you haven't been able to train your mind kind of to get into that state where you're like, okay, just leave it now. It's going to be hard not to binge, definitely. And even if you're experienced, I don't know, it's hard not to binge, but so even after a binge, I kind of earlier I was saying, after one relapse, don't beat yourself up. But even after a binge, still pick yourself back up. There's still time. It's never too late. It's just it's all in your head anyway. Just forgive yourself, get back on the horse, and carry on.
Mm-hmm. Game over. Do you have anything?
Yeah, if you're having erection problems, don't touch your dick. Don't edge. My erection quality went through the roof when I stopped basically testing and playing with myself. So
that's really, really good advice. Yeah, it's almost intuitive too. It's like, why would you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you gotta wait till it speaks. So
yeah, I think I would just echo all the same things. Just kind of all the best rebooters do have a relapse. All the success stories, 95% of them have relapsed since they started trying. So it's gonna happen, and once it's done, do your best to just get back on the horse because you'll win eventually. I mean,
relapses don't defeat you; they give you the opportunity to show how strong you are.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So I guess with that, if nobody has anything else to say, that was a wonderful episode too. So game over. Thanks for doing this, by the way. That's amazing.
No worries.
Yeah, definitely. Good. You're like a popular guy in the forum. I didn't even realize how popular you were until I said you were going to be on the episode, and then people were like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear Game Over."
Stalkers.
Hanging out with the
stalkers.
popular kids.
Yeah,
it was nice.
I know. But all right, so thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with another episode and a new topic and a new special guest. So thanks again.